did we learn anything from the Punjab incident that happened?
I
Prime Minister has been visiting, various states down south, road shows after road shows. The security detail and the lapse that happened in Punjab, have we learned something from there? And how are you reading into the threat letter that came out and the cataloging of security threats and the implications on that 49-paged intelligence report?
I think, I was pretty lucky enough to interview Mr. Azad when the Punjab security breach took place. And in Punjab security breach, he very categorically pointed out that apart from all the fault of the local police, SPG too should have rushed the Prime Minister to a space which is called a safe spot. So he spoke about multiple issues in that context, in terms of SOPs, in terms of SOPs of the police. Yashwardhan Azad was not only in charge of the VVIP security, but as Secretary Security Cabinet Secretariat, he has a vast experience in managing the security of the top politicians of India, especially those who are protected by SPG and the Prime Minister. And Kabir, if you don't mind, can I take a question from Mr. Azad?
Right, absolutely.
Sir, my question to you is that after Punjab this leak has taken place, how serious this should be considered in context of Prime Minister's Modi's itinerary? This is like the second time it has happened in context of information.
Well, I think leak of Prime Minister's security detail is perhaps the worst thing you can even imagine. The problem in this case, Karthikeya, is that you see the entire threat perception has been given in the first part, and then security arrangements which are built around the quantum and the quality of threat perception, they are then given for every event which is being organized for the Prime Minister. And the worst part is that all these arrangements have been made with much care and a lot of caution. And you realize that that everyone is involved in that. The state police is involved, intelligence is involved, the IV is involved, the SPG is involved. And therefore, it's a well-crafted kind of a diagrammatic sketch, the works, everything is there, I mean, there are so many details. Now, if that goes out in a 49-page document, then you can imagine the horror of the security men who are going to protect the Prime Minister. One, it gives you the details. For example, I saw it in the press that, things about PFI, about these women cadres and about these things have come out. So obviously, if there is a trained or a committed man, and he'd like to see through the security and the loopholes. So in the end, I'd just like to say that this is a real breach and a tremendous failure on the part of whoever that the leak has come out.
So it's a 49-page report by Additional Director General of Police, Intelligence, with the details of the names of the officials on duty, their role, detailed program chart of the Prime Minister, and this was all over media. And you would know, sir, that the Union Minister of State, Mr. Muralidharan, when ballistics on Sunday, he said, how come this is on the Malayalam media? Now, it is one thing that there is a procedural error, or there is one thing that there is error in context of logistics, which happened in Punjab, in a border state. But sir, there is another thing to have the entire itinerary of the program with the press, with the name of the officers and the duties assigned. I mean to say it's slightly bit more than a breach. You have handed over everything of the Prime Minister to anyone who doesn't like him.
Well, in this particular case, what happens, Karthikeya, is that whenever security arrangements are drawn up, then the intelligence chief of that particular state draws upon resources from various places, because in one district may not have all the, so people are called from various places, and that's why it has to be done in a centralized manner. Well, now that this has been done and this has been circulated, what happens is that things become loose at times, because you'll be circulating across a few districts or across a few officers, and inevitably the slip up takes place in such a situation. Whereas the more serious part in this, Kartikeya, is that this gives both. You see, if only the security arrangements given alone and the threat perception is given differently, then even the pressure would be halved. But the threat perception given gives exactly where you're expecting the threats from. And that's the worst part in this, that both have been combined and given. But lastly, Kartikeya, I also feel a little strange because I'm given to understand that some channel sort of published it, and some press people also did it. I mean, I think the responsible press people or the editors would have made sure that such things are not given out by the press. I wonder how they forgot their role in this, because PM security, everyone is involved. He is the prime minister of the country and he faces the highest threat. And let me tell you, Kartikeya, that in this particular case, he faces the highest level of threat. And we are talking not, simple threats here and there, law and order, because law and order threat is separate. We are talking about ISIS, we are talking about, all those things which have been mentioned there, PFI, and they have the capability too. So I think on that part, it has been a very, very serious film.
There are two things here, sir. One is you have the itinerary of the Prime Minister, which is made public. But there's another thing in which the people deployed, their names are published. So in this case, sir, what is the protocol? So for example, if you would have been in service, what would you have done immediately? What would have been the first step if you would have come to know that the entire detail, not only of the Prime Minister's trip, but the people involved in securing him, their identities are out? What would you have done, sir?
You see, there are a lot of, checks and balances you can do. I mean, you can change a little bit of timings here and there. You can change routes. There are so many things, which the SPG is really capable of. And I'm sure those contingency measures must be taken by both the security police. In fact, I was happy to read a statement by from the police commissioner side also, that we will make foolproof arrangements. We are trying to rectify the mistake. An inquiry has been ordered. But yes, mind you, Kartikeya, the arrangements, the close proximity security of the Prime Minister is done by the SPG, and the outer arrangements are taken care of by the state police. So I'm sure SPG has a lot on its hands. And there are regular drills, there are contingency arrangements, and I'm sure they'll make it, and they'll be able to manage it now, because they've got a few days. I think the Prime Minister's program is on Tuesday, and this came out about 2 days back.